Okay, that was a little humor there. Jennifer wasn't really mad at me, but that's not how we rehearsed it before we filmed it, but I just had a little inspiration to throw that in on the end of that one, and it kind of surprised her. So I will show you that ending that I did there before we're done here. Don used that ending a lot, especially on Talk of the Town, but he did use it a lot in a lot of different keys and different tunes, so I will show you that. Okay, so Talk of the Town. I'm going to show you both of these breaks he did. And what we're going to do, there's two ways that Don started this. The original way that he did it was he did a single string kickoff, and it sounded like this. Just a little. And the way that I kicked it off was, okay, and like I said, Don used both. He tended to use the second version from probably the mid 60s on up. It's got a little more kick to it when it starts off. And I prefer that kickoff, but I will show you the original. And what we're going to do is we're going to start here at your D position at the 12th fret. And the original kickoff, you can start it back here on the 7th fret and walk up right up to this note on the 10th fret. And what I'm doing is I'm just hitting it with the thumb, and then I'm coming back. Before I hit the 10th fret, I'm sliding into that 10th fret. And it's the 10th fret on the 2nd string. I'm on the 2nd string here. Alright. You can also do this same thing on the 3rd string on the 11th fret out of your D position here. Okay? Like that. Now the pinch kickoff, what I'm doing here is I'm holding down this D position. It's your F shape D chord at the 12th fret. And what I'm doing is I'm pinching the 3rd and 1st strings while holding down. I'm moving my ring finger out of the way so you can see what I'm holding here. I'm pinching the 3rd and 1st strings, and then I'm coming over here with the ring finger and hitting the 12th fret while keeping my pinky on the 12th fret on the 1st string. So I'm holding this position down, just adding this note into it on the 12th fret. Just 2 pinches right there. And those are both pinches on the 3rd and 1st string. Alright. Once you do those 2 pinches, we're going to come down to the 1st and 2nd strings, and we're going to hold down this D position that we had on the 10th and 12th fret, and we're going to flat it 1 fret. So you'll be on the 9th and 11th frets. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch those notes and go back to the original D position. Alright, so we'll do all of those pinches together. Alright. Okay. At this point, what we're going to start doing is we're going to do a back and forth type lick with the thumb and the index finger of your right hand. We're going to go second, first, second, first, second, first, like that. So it goes like this. Alright, and all I'm doing is doing that kickoff that I just showed you, and reaching over and grabbing this 12th fret on the 2nd string while holding down that D chord. Alright, that's the first little bit. And back to the original D. after you hit that 12th fret note. Now we're going to come up here to the 12th fret on the second or the third and second strings, and we're going to flat our finger across the 12th fret. It's a part of a G chord. And back to the D chord. These two will be on the third and second strings. Okay, so let's put all that together. Alright, back to that original D. And if you've got my 5 DVD set Reno workshop, you'll remember that I always say it's within the chord. Usually Don's stuff is not far from the chord. We're not jumping all over the place trying to get the different notes. It's right around the chord. So it doesn't look like you're doing much movement, but the sound is. It sounds like you are. So I'll play all that up until that point. Alright. The next position is a partial C chord. It's part of your C chord. So we're just moving this D position down like that. But we're not hitting the first string. We're staying on the third and second strings. So back to this D chord. Essentially what we're doing here is we're moving from this D to this D while we're doing these walks. So I'll show you that. Alright. Come back here and flat your finger across. Now at this point we're still in D chord here on the third and second strings, and we're going to flat our fingers back onto the 6th fret, back up one. Once we hit that D chord, we're going to back up one to we're still in D at this point, but we're hitting a partial C chord on your third and second strings. Remember, keep that 1 2 1 2 going with the thumb and index. Alright, I'll play all that. Alright, now here is where we're going to transition from a D chord to a G chord. So at this point, and what I'm doing here, I'm hitting that C. I'm doing a little roll here. It's not quite a forward roll, but I'm hitting that C that we hit. And I'm coming back to the third string. Keep this 5th fret held down on the third string. And I'm coming into a D7th chord is what I'm going to hit here. I know it looks like I'm hitting this string here. You'll see my ring finger going into place, but I'm not actually hitting the second string on this little roll I'm doing. You can, but I'm not doing it here. See, it's just a habit of mine. I'm thinking about chord positions when I'm doing this, so I'm getting into that D7th position, which is where I'm theoretically at, is the D7 position. It's kind of like an A minor chord. I'm doing the little, and then back to the third, and then the first string on the 7th fret. Okay, now at this point we're going into the G, and we're going to pinch these chords. Once we're in this D7th position, we're that straight up to this G chord. Alright, and what I'm doing, like I said, I'm moving that position up to this G, and then I'm going to start doing that 1-2 thing that I was doing with my thumb and my first finger. I'm going to do it with my thumb and my middle this time, because the notes that I'm going to be hitting are on the 3rd and 1st strings. You could do it with your thumb and index, but since your middle is already there at the 1st string, you will want to use that most of the time on the 1st string. So, and we're going to pinch to the G, then we're going to come to this partial C chord. I'm on the 9th fret and the 10th fret. I'm on the 9th fret on the 3rd string and the 10th fret on the 1st. Back to that G position. Okay, and we're ending up on this G. So basically what we're doing is walking from this G to this G. I'm doing another little 1-2 deal. Then we're going to pinch again back to this G. And I'm still staying on the 3rd and 1st strings during this G part. Okay? At this point in the song, it goes to A. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this chord, which is a F sharp minor, I believe, against an A chord. And this particular chord shape, Don uses it all the time against a major chord. It's kind of like a steel guitar type lick. I've also heard electric guitar players do it too, but I'm sure you've heard him do that before. I wouldn't change you if I could was probably the first time I heard him do that. But that's the chord position. I'm on the 6th fret on the 3rd string and the 7th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings. Okay, and it works that position works off any F chord. Alright. So anyway, when it goes to A, we're going to use that chord. Alright. And what I'm doing is I'm brushing down on all 3 strings, sliding into that position, and I'm walking that same position down to the 5th fret here. And remember to mute your bridge with your hand back here. Put your hand on top of the bridge to get that sound. Okay? Once you've done that, we're going to move up to this A position, and we're going to hit that same F sharp minor chord, but in a different position. Will be it's an F sharp minor, but it's just a different chord shape. It's like an A minor shape. So we're going to slide up to this position on the 11th. My fingers on the 11th fret on the 3rd string and the 10th fret on the 2nd string and the 11th fret on the 1st string. So, and we're going to do the exact same thing we did here. We're going to do the same thing there and just slide into that whole position and do the same thing. Just move it back 2 frets. Alright. One thing I'll emphasize here is when I'm doing these brushes on all 3 strings, usually when I'm doing brush stuff, it's all double stops. We're only brushing 2 strings at once. That's what the double stop is. Okay, but here I'm brushing down 3 strings. But the emphasis is on the third and second strings. That stands out more. So in other words, you don't want to go to really make that first string stand out. You're hitting it, but it's not really loud. Okay. All right, I'll play the whole thing up to that point. All right, now at this point, you can tell I varied it a little bit. It's kind of hard to play slow, but you get the gist of it there. At this point is this famous run that Don does on a lot of tunes, but especially Talk of the Town. Okay. And this is basically just a run. We're walking from this D on the 7th fret to this D. And what I'm doing is I'm sliding into this position on the 7th fret on the 4th string and the 2nd string on the 7th fret, or 7th fret on the 2nd string. Like that. I'm going 1, 2 just like we've been doing. Walk down one string on the 4th, one fret on the 4th string. To the 5th fret on the 4th string, and we're going to slide into this 4th fret on the 4th string, and my finger is back here on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And you can vary this lick in many different ways. You can pinch this lick like that, and what I'm doing is I'm pinching all 3 strings, 1st string, 2nd string, and the 4th string. Alright. And you can also hit the string open, the D string open first, like that. Okay, and during all this, just keep in mind, once you get these basic, the basic breakdown and the basic positions down, don't stick to what I'm showing you or what Don does. Try to come up with your own variations of it. Just try different stuff. So anyway, I'll play that whole first break one more time and play the last lick on the end. And play it along with me. On that last little line there, I don't know if I showed you that or not. That's basically just a little tag lick on the end. And I'm hitting it with my first finger on my right hand on the 2nd fret, or the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. Alright. I'll try to keep my finger out of the way so you can see what I'm holding down. It's basically just that D chord that I'm holding down, just holding that D chord down. Okay. All right. Now, on the original version, Don only did a kickoff. He only did the kickoff in the beginning of the song. So we're going to do a whole break, or a half of a break that Don did in later years. He always took a break on it. With Bill Harrell, and usually the fiddle would take the first half of the break and Don would take the second half. And this is kind of what he did here. So he put a little more single string in this rather than the back and forth with the. Rather than doing that, we're going to start off on this same place we started with, up here on this D chord. And what we're going to do, we're going to single string from the 11th to the 12th to the 13th fret, and back to the second string on the 10th fret. Like that. Remember, we're playing right out of this D chord, so we're not jumping around. Alright. And you can do a little bit of that back and forth right there. What I'm doing is I'm just holding that partial G or partial D down that we used before. Okay. All right. So we come back, and on the second fret or the second string on the 10th fret, and now we're going to go to the third string on the 12th fret. We're going to do that little walk up again, single string walk up. So I'll play that again. It's kind of hard to explain, but little pause there. That's important to get that pause in there. On that 12th fret, we're pausing on the third string on the 12th fret. Back to the 11th fret. Then we're going to do that little walk up again. I'm hitting that 10th fret on the second string. Back to the 12th to the 11th on the third string. Here's another pause right here. You're hitting that note twice actually right there on the 11th fret on the third string. Alright. I think you can figure it out from that. So after this, we're going to come back to the, we're basically running through those same positions we did, but we're single stringing stuff instead of doing full or partial chord positions. So, and I'm hitting the 9th fret on the third string, then we're coming down to the 7th fret on the third string, once we hit that 7th fret on the third string, we're going to come over here and hit the 9th fret on the third string. And we're going to go back to this 1-2 deal. I'm barring down across the third and second strings with my finger here, and I'm hitting the 7th fret on the second string. Like that. We're just going to do that a couple of times like that. Alright. And what we're doing is we're going right into that G chord. We're going to hit this note on the second string on the 8th fret. The reason why I'm barring down my finger across all three strings here is because I'm hitting that 7th note, or that 7th fret note on the first string when I do this. Okay. Back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string. I'll play that slow. Alright. 7th fret on 2nd string, 8th fret on the 2nd string, 7th fret on the 1st string, back to the 8th fret on the 2nd string. Alright, then we're going to go into kind of a little rock and roll lick here, and it's a little tricky to get, and Don does it different every time. He does all kinds of little things like that. He can choke it. And I'm not quite sure how I did it on the intro there, so you'll have to experiment with it. I'll show you what I'm going to do right now. Usually I don't have a set way of playing too many things. Whatever comes to my mind at the time, and you can see that by how I got in trouble with Jennifer there in the beginning. But what I'm going to do is, okay, I think that's what I did. But sometimes Don would choke that. Alright. And what I'm doing is I'm brushing down. We're in G at this point, and I'm brushing down on the 3rd fret on the 2nd and 1st strings. Like that. And I'm reaching over here and grabbing the 5th fret on the 2nd string. Back to that 7th, well, it's a 7th note, but it's on the 1st and 2nd strings on the 3rd fret. Coming up here to the 5th fret on the 3rd and 2nd strings. This is double stops now. See how I'm flattening my fingers across the strings? And I'm holding down, when I get to this point, I'm holding down my finger flat across the frets, flat across the strings here on the 3rd fret on the 2nd and 2nd and 3rd strings. And I'm hammering on to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. And what I'm doing is it's just a G chord. I'm hammering onto this regular G position. Like that. And then I hit the strings open. Double stops, I'm hitting the 3rd and 2nd strings open. Alright. I'll go over that again. 3rd fret is where you're going to start it on the 1st and 2nd strings. Brush down. Remember now, I'm choking the bridge. I'm not choking it, but I'm holding my hand, muting the bridge while I'm doing these brush licks. Okay, I think you can figure it out from that. I'll do that from this point. Okay, like I said, it's hard to explain. It's hard to do it slow too, but you can do all kinds of little stuff like that. You just have to keep in mind the time, how much time you have to do it when it goes to G. So experiment with that lick. That's a good one. Alright. Now at this point we're going from G to A just like the first time. And we're going to come up to that same position. Alright, but this time we're going to go back and forth a little more than we did before. I think that's how I did it. Okay, I think that's what I did. Alright, and all I'm doing is that same position we did the first time. I'm just going back and forth. And you can do any combination you want, really. Like I said, don't stick to what I'm showing you or what Don did. Come up with your own thing. You can do whatever you want as long as it sounds good and it sticks within the time restraints that you're in. So, all right, so we'll do that, and we're going to end off with that same ending that we did during the intro. All right, let me play the whole second break for you one more time. Play it along with me. I'll play it slow here, and we're going to do the pinch beginning. No, this is the second break, I'm sorry. We're going to do the single string kickoff, or break actually. All right. All right, I think you got it. Now I'll show you this crazy ending I put on here. Basically, this lick is pretty much like Follow the Leader, same type lick that he uses in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit the strings open, and we're running through this D position, your normal D position. And the lick is actually pretty simple as far as the notes, but it's tough to get right. I mean, the single string's tough anyway, and to fire this in there in time is kind of hard. But I'll show you the notes here. You hit the fourth string open, second string on the fourth string, third fret. I said second fret. Yeah, it's the second fret. Getting confused here. Fourth fret on the fourth string. We're going to hit the fourth string open. Sorry. Fourth string open. Second fret. Third fret. Fourth fret. So it's just 1, 2, 3. We're going to follow up with the third string on the second fret. Fourth fret on the third string. Second fret on the second string. Third fret on the second string. Then we're going to come to the second fret on the first string. Third fret. Fourth. Staying on the first string. All right, and it takes a lot of practice to get that, but it's basically just 1, 2, 3, down the strings. All right. The tricky part is the last part of this lick, and it's hard to get it right, get it timed right. And what I mean by that is when you do this lick, you can put too many notes in there or not enough. And that's pretty close to the right way to do it, but what I'm doing is I'm doing that lick I just showed you. Once you get to that fourth fret on the first string, we're going to come up here on the third string on the fourth fret, and we're going to walk our way up to back to the D position we started with. So and you can add more notes into it as long as it fits in the time period there. Something like that. And all I'm doing is single stringing the third string from the fourth fret on back to the 11th fret. actually hit every fret if you wanted to. And the way to single string all of these notes like this fast is just run your finger down the string. If you notice, that's what I'm doing. And don't try to be so particular about hitting each note. You're just, when it's up to speed, it'll sound right. And I'm finishing up with my middle finger on the right hand on the 12th fret. And like I said, what I'm doing is I'm running from this D to this D. Okay. I'll do that again real slow, as slow as I can, and still make it sound right. And it goes like this. And I missed it a little bit. It's hard to do slow, but you'll get the gist of it there. And that's Talk of the Town, and like I said, experiment with it. Try different things with it. Don't stick to what I've shown you here. Once you have the basic positions, you can create your own break on Talk of the Town.